Steve Kilbey, pop singer, opinionated, arty, lefty. I'm a vegetarian, I'm anti-war, peace-loving, has got an opinion on everything. One of those, I smoke dope, I love music and art, arty, lefty. I'm a vegetarian and all that stuff. So if you want to stick around and hear what I have to say on all of these subjects, I think we're living in an age of information, misinformation and disinformation. Maybe it was always like this, but once upon a time, I'm just talking in Australia, say, the Sydney Morning Herald would say 50 rebels were killed in blah 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 today, and you go, everyone would agree on that. No one would go, they might argue about why they're killed, if they should have been killed or what we should do, but no one would disagree on that. These days, you can say to someone, 50 rebels were killed in blah 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 today, and they go, where did you get that information? And they go, oh no, it was 100, oh no, it was 5, oh no, they weren't killed, they were, and whatever you're quoting, they're going, oh God, if you get your information from there. So it's even hard for anyone to agree upon anything at all, and whatever you say, you're sort of immediately at a disadvantage. And I am just a super opinionated singer, and I've sort of been going through the world. I didn't used to be interested in politics and the banksters and the environment and stuff. I sort of thought, I'll leave that up to somebody else. The government couldn't be that bad. Everything's all right. I'm doing all right. I don't want to rock the boat. And then you sort of just keep going through life, and you realise how as I said before, there's this. I don't exactly know who they are. I think yes, it's the banksters, it's the governments of the Western world, which as we're saying, it's an illusion of democracy. You can have him or you can have him or her. It's not really going to make much difference. It's there's this sort of thinking that's running the show, and the people that we get in, they're just like a puppet, in the real sense that they're sort of Punch is hitting Judy, and we don't like Punch, or we want Judy to get hit or whatever, but really it's just one guy standing behind there making this, and we go and we're distracted by the fact that there's this continuum of thought, this bunch of people, epitomised by Dick Cheney, this old white Anglo-Saxon Protestant geezer who's sort of part of the ammunitions and rebuilding war-torn countries that he's helped create the war in. We'll create a war and fuck you up, and then we'll come back in and rebuild your country. This guy who's been around in back of politics, pulling strings, as epitomised by him, but he's probably just a puppet of somebody else. Maybe there's no real hierarchy, maybe there is, I don't fucking know, I'm a singer, but there's definitely this thinking, this kind of Western thinking that's dragging us all into this morass, and it's been going on a long time. It's been going on since World War One. They got so many of us ordinary people killed in World War One, but nobody ever answers for it. What did we win? Australia and the people who, we should be proud of our glorious dead. They're not glorious. So young men trampled in a field in France. For what? But what did we gain? What was the problem? I don't know. I was just brought up to blindly believe, and I did, on Anzac Day and 1 minute silence. And after a while, you thought, there's this bunch of people who never take risks themselves. throwing us ordinary proletariat into these wars over and over and over and over, suppressing us, taking away our pleasures like drugs, and when it was illegal to be a homosexual, not letting homosexuals get married, and sort of like dictating us and telling us what we can do. And they're above it all, they're manipulating us, and it becomes apparent that Liberal Party, Labour Party, Democrats, Whigs, Tories, whoever it is, it's just the same old story. And there's these, who was it that said, give me your banks and I'll control it. I don't want your armies, I want your banks. That's what'll control the country. It seems to me, I don't really want to be part of this whole bankster conspiracy. It seems to me they're a lot of the problem. These kind of huge banks recalling money on whims, their lust for gold for whatever reason, they're wanting to get all this gold, more gold, wherever the gold is, they want it, staging huge heists to get the gold disappearing. A lot of gold went disappearing in 9/11. A fucking load of gold went missing in 9/11. Billions, trillions, zillions, bazillions of dollars worth of gold disappeared. Wow. Got melted down by all that aircraft fuel, just melted down and went into the stones and was gone. Yeah, like fuck. So there's a whole bunch of as John Kennedy, who was the anniversary of his death, warned, the military-industrial complex are out of control. And they fucking got him, they got his brother, and they got Martin Luther, whoever the fuck comes along preaching love and peace and no, we don't want war. There's this gang there's this, I don't know, obviously the old ones are dying out and the new ones are coming up, but there's this whole thinking, this Western, the kind of thinking that did what we did to the Aborigines and killed all the Tasmanian tigers. And you still see pictures, a girl in the paper shooting a lion, going, I bagged this, and she's posing there with this great big male lion that she shot for fucking no reason. This sort of Western thinking on one side we have that, and on the other side we have the kind of the people who are concerned about the environment and the future. And then there's these people, it's so short-sighted, like we're talking now in manner of 5 to 10 years, we're already seeing what's happening, and they're going, fuck it, if I can be a millionaire for 10 years, I don't care if it's a dead planet after that, I'm 60, what do I care? My kids will be rich enough, we built them a bunker, and it's all planned out where the elite are going to go when it comes. So it all seemed, I don't want to be part of this anymore. It's like when you find out World Championship Wrestling is rigged, or when you find out, I went and saw that roller derby in LA one time when I was about 28. I had a manager, and it never occurred to me it was rigged. And then I went along, when I actually saw it, I saw it was rigged. I was really like, I couldn't get into it after that, after naively believing it, there really was these great ideologies clashing in politics. What difference does it make? They're all just like, why is Australia in Afghanistan? Liberal, Labour, whoever, we're still in Afghanistan, still killing people, getting our soldiers killed. Why? What has that got to do with protecting Australia? Doesn't matter who once, at least you thought if we get Labour, they got us out of Vietnam and got rid of, so that seemed like a choice. It seemed like something happened when we voted for them. But nowadays, everything's sort of being blanketed and eaten up and swallowed up by this vast corporate banking money thing. It just takes them all in. The ones that don't fit in get spat out, or they have mysterious heart attacks, or they commit suicide after they've punched all their teeth out and broken their own arm. They hang themselves. People who don't fit in to this thing, or who say too much. Like a guy who was just about to release a 911 film, or was questioning him and his children. He shot himself and shot his 2 children. Sure he did. Yeah, sure, he did that. So, you know, it's the system warns you. Don't fuck up. Don't go against us. You will come to a kind of a, you know, we know where your wife and children are, and your mother. We know where your mother lives. So, and nowadays more than ever, I think the Earth is being fucked up. I think the weather. I mean, we had a fucking tornado in Victoria, and people don't think there's. Tony Abbott's going on. I will get rid of it. I've seen through the global warming hoax. There was a tornado in Victoria. I've never heard of a tornado in Australia ever. And yet suddenly hurricanes were crossing we didn't think hurricanes would cross the equator. Hurricanes are now hitting South America. The weather conditions are fucking bizarre. You know, Australia used to have purple to signify as hot as it could get. And last summer, we had black, and we went up to a new colour, purple, which is what happens when the weather gets over 55. 55! In Sydney, when they did that, in Sydney, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, I was down the beach, and the weather was 100 degrees. Come on, don't tell me there's not something going on there. Anyway, so it's like, but there's this whole bunch, they're like, I don't care, let's just have a good time, like Jim Morrison said. You know, I just want to get my kicks so the whole shithouse goes up in flames. These people are like, they don't care. Who cares? Let them mine the Barrier Reef if I can get some money now. Who cares if in 100 years the Barrier Reef's gone? Wouldn't you rather be a millionaire? Be a millionaire now and the Barrier Reef's gone 100 years. That's easy for some people. Go, yeah, give me the money, give me the money. So it's all short-sighted Western, you know, the same thinking. It was like, get the heroin out of the opium. Let's bring the cane toads. Let's go to India and impose Christianity and British way of doing things, and Australia, and go to America, get rid of them redskins. What do they know? Give them trains and banks and guns and kill all the buffalo. You know, it's the same. It's a real Western, white, modern, artificial kind of way of looking at things, and a lot of people don't like it. There's a sort of one day there will be a clash, but the problem is that everything that happens now, each side claims as a victory for themselves. For example, once upon a time, there were a bunch of people saying, we don't want guns. Guns are violent, guns kill people. A lot of people saying, we want guns, our right to have guns, First Amendment, whatever fucking amendment is, we can have guns. Okay, so you simply have, these ones don't want it, these ones do. Now you have a new voice saying, we don't want guns either, but they're trying to take the guns away from you, so when the revolution comes, we don't have a chance. So now there's this new, completely new, bizarre angle on this thing. Not just simply no and yes, but there's a reason why you don't want to say no. So in this day and age, it's very hard to know what is really going on, and maybe even they don't know what's going on. But one thing I know, they never thought about the fact that now with the internet, and 10 years ago it wasn't so much like this when September 11 happened. There used to be a world where some great thing would happen, say someone blew up Melbourne Town Hall, and there'd be some photos of it, maybe someone vaguely was filming there and there'd be a bit of film, there'd be an investigation, and then it would all be over. These days, when something happens, people all around the world can endlessly sit there and watch it over and over and over, whatever. They can watch things about it, they can get all the information, they can research it, and they can form groups of people going, hang on, that doesn't seem quite right that this was happening. That's what they never foresaw, and that's things just don't like. Shoot Kennedy, bang, he's gone. Oh, another guy, shoot the guy who shot him, bang, it's all over. Chuck him in jail. Have a fake commission. There's the commission. Sorry, you don't like it. Next. That's not like that anymore. It's not like that anymore. Now people are pouring through this, going over it, watching it, examining it. Scientists from all over the world, Italian scientists are going, hang on, I'm a physicist, buildings can't fall down like that. I don't fucking care what you say it was, a building doesn't fall down like that. It's just against the law of physics, and as a physicist or whatever, I won't have it, you know. And other structural engineers are going, you know, I've been building buildings for like 40 years, 50 years, I'm a 70-year-old guy. You know, I used to be in the army, I'm a proper American respectable guy, but when a building's on fire, it doesn't fall down like that. It's not possible. And these buildings were built to withstand all of that anyway. They would warp and twist, and they wouldn't go at speed of light. It's whatever the reason for that, it wasn't the reason they're telling you. So nowadays, and all these people are getting together, and they're, you know, they're getting in a way that wasn't possible before. There was no way, if you'd suspected something about John Kennedy, it would have been very hard in 1963 to get together a group of people to do something about that. Look at the evidence. You were kept on the outside. But nowadays, everything that happens, everybody's looking at it. And as everybody's looking at it, also is coming this spewing forth of information, misinformation and disinformation. And everything that happens, every side claims that. If it gets hotter, if it gets colder, both sides claim that as a victory. If the guns are nearing being taken away, not being, or whatever fucking happens with everything, both sides claim it as a sign that they were right and have got the data to back it up. We say there's one crowd. You could pick up the paper one day and say the Arctic is melting faster than ever before. Here's a polar bear swimming around because he's got no land. And then you can read a new report by the blah 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 says the polar cap is thicker and stronger and more resilient than ever. And you're going, well, I just read two exactly different things there. And in the end you go, I don't know, what's for dinner, Marge?